This district that I am running in, West Little Rock, Arkansas, District 75, consistently polls within the margin of error between Democrats and Republicans. It is the purplest district of purple districts in Arkansas. 50-50 split. For whatever reason, whether the cosmos aligned or we did something right or it was the eclipse or the northern lights or whatever was going to happen, we do not have a Republican running in this race. And also because of the way that the ballot access law was redone for us libertarians, us lowly libertarians here in Arkansas in 2023, it allowed us to know which races were unopposed. And this was one of them that was unopposed. And so yours truly is running in a two-way race in a 50-50 split district against a Democrat incumbent with no Republican challenger during a presidential election year in a red state where the presidential election is going to try to attempt to unseat a Democrat, the opposite party of the major party. So all the things have aligned for this to be an actual winnable race. We are a viable candidate for change, and so we're excited to be here.
Instead of focusing on winning arguments, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and marketing and how we can use them to win in the world of politics, teaching you how to meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Welcome to The Brian Nichols Show. Well, hey there, folks. Brian Nichols here on The Brian Nichols Show, and thank you for joining us on, of course, another fun-filled episode. I am, as always, your humble host, joining you from our lovely Cardio Miracle Studios here in Eastern Indiana. The Brian Nichols Show is powered by our good friends over at AMP America. Folks, if you need all the news without the corporate media bias or fluff, we'll head over to ampamerica.com. Subscribe over there. Check out some amazing opinion pieces, news articles, and podcasts like yours truly here on The Brian Nichols Show, exclusively over on AMP America. Also, The Brian Nichols Show is powered by our good friends over at Cardio Miracle. Frankly, yours truly is powered by Cardio Miracle. And folks, I've been using Cardio Miracle for just over a year now, and the Cardio Miracle difference, 100,000% chance. There we go. Words, they're hard. It's awesome. Cardio Miracle is literally the best heart health supplement I've ever used, and I dare say it's the best heart health supplement in the world. So what is Cardio Miracle? So Cardio Miracle is powered by nitric oxide, and what it does is it helps improve your blood pressure. It helps improve your heart rate. It helps give you a better, more restful night's sleep. Heck, even more of a pump at the gym. And I've seen all those benefits for myself. Now, by the way, if you're sitting there listening to this and you're like, okay, Brian, that sounds a little too good to be true. I thought the same thing. And that was until I used Cardio Miracle. And guess what? 2 months. That's all it took. 2 months. I watched my blood pressure go from being consistently 140/90 or higher at times down to 120/80. 2 thumbs up from my doctor. Also, my resting heart rate. This blew me away. My resting heart rate went from being in the low 70s to the low 50s, sometimes even high 40s. I was like, what is happening? And I guess the answer is quite clear. The Cardio Miracle difference. Yeah, it is real. And that's on top of living a healthy lifestyle, going to the gym 6 days a week, eating healthy foods. This is an extra tool in the tool belt, and frankly, one of the best tools I've ever used to help improve my health. So if you're sitting there, you're saying, Brian, listen, I hear what you're saying. I'm still skeptical. Would it help if I tell you that literally hundreds of folks here in the Brian Nichols Show audience have already jumped on board the Cardio Miracle train and are experiencing the Cardio Miracle benefits for themselves right now? No, you're still apprehensive. How about the tens of thousands of folks out there? No? Still apprehensive? Okay, here, I'm going to hit you with this. How about a 100% money back guarantee? That's right. We're putting our money where our mouth is, and I'm putting my reputation where my mouth is, which I hope that it's worth something at this point, 800 plus episodes, but literally Cardio Miracle. It is the best heart health supplement you can possibly use. And if you use code TBNS, or if you follow the links here in the show notes or the video description, you're instantly going to get 15% applied to your order. So 100% money back guarantee, 15% off your order, and a better ticker. It sounds like a win-win-win to me if you ever saw one. And that's someone who's watched enough Office that I know what Michael Scott would say. So please go ahead, give Cardio Miracle some love. I guarantee your heart will thank you. All right, we paid some bills. And how about for you folks out there, specifically who are sitting and looking at your two choices in November, red team, blue team, Republican, Democrat? Maybe your heart is sad. Your heart is sad because you want to vote for someone you actually believe in. Now, without the advent of something like a ranked choice voting, that can get difficult, right? Because you're afraid, I'm going to vote for a third party candidate and I'm going to elect the worst possible person by not casting a vote to really play defense, stop that worst case scenario from getting into elected office. But what if there was a candidate you could vote for that not only matched your values, but heck, actually has a very good shot to win their election? Let's talk about that. Going down to the great state of Arkansas, not Arkansas, as they would say on that one viral TikTok. Why is this Kansas and not Arkansas? Great question. We have to ask our good friend here, Michael White, joining us here in the Brian Nichols Show. Michael, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, glad to be here, man. Thanks.
Okay, so why is it it's not Arkansas, it's Arkansas? Do you have a reason for that?
You can say it however you want to. If you live here and you're a resident here and you pay taxes in this state, you can say whatever you want to. You've earned that right through government force and coercion to use whatever term you wish to call the state. Sometimes I say it Arkansas too. Lana Del Rey, interestingly enough, has a song, I think it's Tulsa Jesus Freak, where she says we should go down to Arkansas. So even Lana Del Rey calls it Arkansas. So yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, as long as you don't call me late for dinner, that's what we matter about. So,
yeah.
Michael, with that being said, thanks for joining the show. You are running for state legislature in Arkansas, and you're doing so as a big L libertarian. But it sounds like there might be a little bit different of an approach here when we talk about the traditional red team, blue team,
right,
gold team. Oh, you libertarians, you're just playing spoiler. You want insert other team here to win. But that's not the case in Arkansas, Michael. So before we dig into that, do us a favor, introduce yourself here to the Brian Nichols Show audience. And why are you running for office as a big L libertarian in Arkansas?
Arkansas, Arkansas. Again, my name is Michael White. I am a husband and a father. I am a former business owner. I operated Verizon wireless stores throughout the Southeast United States for about a decade, about 12 years maybe, and sold that company in 2016, retired early. I have spent many, many years just spending time outdoors doing those kind of things. 2020 comes around. Liberty is on life support. I've been a libertarian pretty much my entire adult life. And I decided I was going to run for office in 2022. So I ran for the U.S. Congress here in Arkansas as a big L libertarian against the incumbent Republican and a Democrat challenger. And I did that really as a messaging race. A lot of libertarians run messaging races. I ran a messaging race. That was a lot of fun. I got to debate the sitting congressman on statewide televisions, get to speak truth to power, so to speak. Apparently did pretty well. People tended to like that and figured I would do something similar again in 2024 if I was needed to. This district that I am running in, West Little Rock, Arkansas, District 75, consistently polls within the margin of error between Democrats and Republicans. It is the purplest district of purple districts in Arkansas. 50-50 split. For whatever reason, whether the cosmos aligned or we did something right or it was the eclipse or the northern lights or whatever was going to happen, we do not have a Republican running in this race. And also because of the way that the ballot access law was redone for us libertarians, us lowly libertarians here in Arkansas in 2023, it allowed us to know which races were unopposed. And this was one of them that was unopposed. And so yours truly is running in a two-way race in a 50-50 split district against a Democrat incumbent with no Republican challenger during a presidential election year in a red state where the presidential election is going to try to attempt to unseat a Democrat, the opposite party of the major party. So all the things have aligned for this to be an actual winnable race. We are a viable candidate for change. And so we're excited to be here and excited to be talking to people like you, Brian. So thanks for having us on, because the mainstream media is not interested yet in hearing from us. Now, I have a feeling that election night, when we win this, they're going to be calling, and I'm going to make it a point to tell each of them, hey, it's good to finally be noticed after 4 years of hard work, right? I mean, good to finally be on your radar.
Yeah, it must be a really nice long nap for the folks in the corporate media. But alas, we're going to wake them up. And right. I think it's going to be a little bit of a rude awakening in some instances because, and we're just seeing this right now, if you take a more like what is it, minus or no, 2x out. There we go. Yeah, we're zooming out.
30,000 foot view, I think.
Yeah, and you can see it. Like, I mean, this isn't, praising Republicans versus Democrats. I'm just my bias right now. I think I would much rather have a Republican majority than a Democratic majority. And we can talk about that here on the show.
Sure.
But you look at the response from the corporate media and they're looking at the polls. And I think they're starting to see the writing on the wall. Like, things aren't going that great. I just heard James Carville, I think he's on Meet the Press, and he's just freaking the F out.
Yeah, he's losing it. I saw that the other day too. Yeah, he's losing it. Like, he cannot. Look, the economy is always the key issue for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got people out there that are deciding whether they're putting groceries on the table or their prescription medications, whether they're filling their car up this weekend or they're going to buy school uniforms, those decisions make and influence people's voting decisions at the end of the day. And if that's not okay, then usually the people that are in power are on their way out. And so, I mean, look, I don't think the Biden administration has any plans to make the economy better. I don't think necessarily they can. I think we're kind of in a rock and a hard place from a national spending standpoint. We don't have a Congress that's willing to do the hard work of getting a balanced budget, stop printing so much damn money. And so, yeah, the American public, I think, is struggling and seeing very quickly that these people who claim to have their best interest in mind, in fact, do not. So, yes. Yeah.
Well, and by the way, we talk about here on the show, not just going after winnable elections, but specifically looking at a voting base that's more open to your ideas, right? We call this on the Brian Nichols Show, instead of in the world of business, your ICP, your ideal customer persona, we call this your IVP, your ideal voter persona. And I'm looking at the stats here for Arkansas. So 69% of all citizens in Arkansas are registered to vote. Nice. With that, 20% of that voting block is between the ages of 18 and 30. Then 31 to 40, 15%, and from 41 to 50, 14.7%. So just under 50% of the voting base is between the ages of 18 and we'll say 45, 50. Right. They're registered voters. And this is, sorry, I didn't mean to get rid of myself there. And I'm just so excited. And one of the things for the party breakdown, 40% Democratic, 58.8% Republican. So if we're going to kind of, again, go back to that 30,000 foot overview, zoom out, if we will, not only do you not have a Republican challenger here, but now you're facing head to head against a Democratic voter, where I would dare say in a voting base that's much more, and let's just use the word or the phraseology, on the right, right? They are more politically right-leaning, whether that's social issues, economic issues, the data speaks for itself. You, as I think a strong libertarian candidate, can run with a libertarian message that leans more on those right-leaning issues where we know libertarians not only can win, but actually beat Republicans, and then in a foil to the Democrat, be basically the best version of a possible, like, give the Republicans a magic wand and say, make your perfect Republican candidate. And it's basically a libertarian candidate. You now can serve as that foil to the Democrats. So I put all this onto the tee, and I'm hoping you can knock it out of the park for me here, Michael. What do you think this is going to do from an outcome perspective? I mean, beyond just winning an election here in Arkansas, do you see something like this starting off, much like before we hit the record button, I'm knocking down all my lights here in the studio, which you heard on the live microphone, fun fact. But do you see something like that, a domino effect where, hey, we won one state house here in Arkansas, and this guy's a libertarian, he's doing better than some of these Republicans. Maybe we should start paying attention more to these big L folks.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that would be the outcome, right? Is that you would begin lighting these brush fires of freedom throughout the country, starting right here. I think that requires some follow through. Obviously, we first have to win, and then the job has to be done really well. And I think when I talk to voters, look, I knock on doors every single day. That's what I do. If it's not raining and I can get outside, I'll knock on some doors and I go talk to voters. And when I meet them where they are, something you talk about, at their front door, and we talk about the issues important to them, you come to realize that most people really are moderates, no matter how they're registered. Most people really just want the practicality of the world to apply to politics. That's what.
By the way, Michael, I am going to pop in really quick, just to drive that point home, because again, in Arkansas, 40.8% were registered Democrats, 58.8% were registered Republicans. How many folks are registered Libertarians? 0.4?
Tiny percentage, yes.
3% of the electorate. So if you went in laser focused on only a libertarian message, right, you'd be lucky to get 0.3 of the vote, which speaks to you got to meet them where they're at. on
Right.
the issues they care about, which I'm so glad you said. Continue.
Well, the good
Sorry.
thing is, as from a sales perspective, if we're going to talk about this in business, I think it's important you believe in your product, honestly. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a business, it's very important that you believe in your product. If you don't believe in your product, you do not need to be investing in that idea. And I believe that liberty is a very practical and pragmatic solution to many, many things that we have going on in this country. In fact, if we have enough time, we don't have it today, but maybe a follow-up, we could go through pretty much any issue in politics today, any issues, in society today, and we can point to how government has made it worse, how government bureaucracy or interference or coercion or force has been something that either started it, multiplied it, or continues to multiply it as a problem. And when you meet people where they are and you talk about these things and you mention why the lack of government force and coercion would be a benefit to them, they suddenly get it. They see it, and they already are upset. Like you said, kind of before this broadcast, we have a lot of people are tired that this is going to be the choices again this year, that it's a Trump-Biden year again. They're hesitant to say that they support something. They're really kind of voting against something. Most of the country feels like they're voting against something. It's been really refreshing to have voters be excited to vote for something for once, for them to be excited to say, this is something different. This is interesting. This sounds like it's actually possible to get something done that benefits me as an individual, as opposed to special interest or the two-party system or the bureaucrats, either at the state house or DC. And so, yeah, I think that the follow through being, do we have effective change? Does it show that we have a healthier political conversation? And if we do, you don't have to sell them features and benefits. People just see things working and they go, hey, that libertarian made things better. We need some more of that. That's what we need some more of in this state.
Know, like, trust. Those are the basic underlying principles for anybody in the world of business, in the world of sales that have success. And guess what? Those principles carry over into the world of politics. Frankly,
100%.
Michael, that's why this show exists, is because I kept on seeing the parallels and then see libertarians just abjectly fail at trying to be able to bring their ideas to a populace that, frankly, to your point, they're not libertarian. And by the way, this is a reality I had to kind of come to grips with back during COVID, was that no, not everybody was libertarian. Like, everybody that was in my immediate circle, specifically when I lived out in the Northeast, like, not only did I think that they were critical thinkers, but that was completely shut down when all of a sudden Governor Wolf's like, hey, y'all are going to be, let's see, essential over there and non-essential over here. And we're just going to arbitrarily shut down the state.
Right.
Sound good?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, no, this is not good. And then all the folks who I thought, were libertarian at their core.
Where did the pattern recognition go?
Sign me up harder for this,
Yeah.
please.
Where did the critical thinking go? Where did the pattern recognition go? These are constant refrains on the thinking mind, I think, in the modern era. But, I'll disagree with you on one point. I think a lot of people are libertarians that just don't know it. They just don't know it. They don't realize, I think, what it really means. I think that still in the political ethos, libertarians are 45 years behind as far as brand awareness. I think that people still don't know what a libertarian is. I think that some people think that they're Republicans who like marijuana, and there's some people that think they're Democrats who like guns, and they don't realize that that's completely not even true on either side of it, that this is really a conversation about the practical and application of government in a free society. What is its role supposed to be? Should it be involved in something? The libertarian approaches it from, hey, I think that community handles things better than bureaucracy. You ask a question to most voters, 100 of them, 99 will say, yeah, probably so. Right? If you ask most voters, when's the last time that you had a really good interaction with government? Most people will have to pause and think for a very, very long time before they give you an answer, if they can even give you an answer. And when you start asking about, hey, how much of your paycheck do you think you should give by force to the government? Should it be over here on the small side, or should it be all the way on the big side? Most people who are working say, well, I mean, I guess there's probably some unnecessary part of me that has to fund the things of society, but I sure would like it to be a lot smaller than where it is. And I think that when you ask this final question is, do you believe in the concept of live and let live? So as long as nobody's messing with you and not preventing you from doing the same thing, is that something you agree with? And most people go, yeah, I kind of agree with that. And so most people, I think at their heart, fundamentally speaking, are libertarians. I think that they just, we like you said, we live in a world of advertisements, sound bites, hashtags, and bumper stickers. And unfortunately, the duopoly has owned the hashtags, sound bites, bumper stickers, and media for many, many years. And so people kind of think, I got to be one of these things or the other. And they're not, when they have a third choice now, that's not a third choice, the second choice, they're incredibly excited.
And
very
by the
exciting.
way, so Michael, I'm not going to challenge you specifically, I guess, on the premise. I think what you did was you articulate a little bit more nuance to just the, I think everybody's more libertarian at their core, which I my knee jerk is to say no, but when you gave the nuance there, I hear that. And let me maybe just draw a little bit more clarity to my point. It
Sure.
wasn't so much that people at their core aren't libertarian, like big L libertarian, but rather when people live their normie lives, right?
Okay. Yeah.
They're not thinking about politics, right?
Right.
They're just thinking about themselves. And this is just the reality of business, of life. People are tuned in to this one radio station. It's called WIIFM. What's in it for me?
That's
They all are
100%
paying
correct.
attention. They're all tuned into that one station. And if you're able to connect the ism of libertarianism to those things that they actually care about, that's where I think you have success. But when we lead with the ism, and I think that's where I need to clarify my point, right?
100%.
We're not leading with the ism here on this point.
100%. Yes.
Problems, and here's the solutions.
And that's if I could wave a magic wand, that's a term we always say to other libertarians in the country, this is not a philosophical debate. This is a practicality debate. This is an issue of showing how things work. And so we have so many people trying to be right as opposed to being, functional, relevant, and good, right? And so if you can just be functional, relevant, and good, trust me, you'll end up being right. And that's really the thing is. And so, yes, thank you so much for saying that. Don't lead with the ism. There's a lot of individuals out there in the libertarian community who have made it their whole entire identity to lead with the ism, right? And you're never going to win a voter over with that because they don't care about the ism, Brian. They don't care. They want the same things everybody else wants. They want a safer city. They want their kids to be educated. They want, their property values to increase. They want, to go about their lives and have some of the good things. They want all the things they need and some of the things they want, and hopefully more of the things they want than they had before, and pass that on down to the kids below them, and so on and so forth. And that's what they care about.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, they don't care about the philosophy. And so the job of a good candidate, I think that's a big L candidate, is supposed to be able to say, hey, I want the same things you want. And maybe the reason we haven't gotten them is because we haven't applied this ism. Now let's talk about that. And it's amazing how that conversation goes. I tell you what, I know I've done my job with a voter or a group of voters or any sort of talk I give when someone comes up to me or says, I've never thought of it that way.
Yep.
When they say that, I know that, hey, well, thank you. That I've done my job today. I've done my job because this does work. But it's been just pushed down quietly in some circles because it doesn't benefit the powers that should not be for you to have the power and for them not to have the power.
Well, Michael, we talk about this in sales, right? Our job, more or less, beyond just trying to help sell a good, a service, a product, an idea, is to help people see things for the first time that they can't unsee, right? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. So if we're able, and by the way, if folks need to look for an example, no more perfect than what we've seen over the past 4 years, talk about the school choice movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just had Corey DeAngelis here in the show a little bit ago. We were talking about this, where when he was first in the show in like 2019 to where he is today, he's like, Brian, just having COVID, even though it was horrible, it was able to help people see things for the first time that they now can't unsee. That my child was being forced to sit in these Zoom bubbles and be indoctrinated by their teachers, and they're not being educated, they're being indoctrinated. And then all of a sudden parents saying, how did we get here? How did I miss this? And now
it was the first time that parents had a real glimpse into the classroom.
Yes.
And not just like, hey, Parent Appreciation Day, where you get to come in for a little party and like
make everything look nice, put all the billboard in the wall. Yeah.
They're hearing the lesson. They're hearing the teacher. They're hearing the things. Absolutely. I love that, that idea from Henry Ford, that quote. I don't know if it's a quote, but I'm probably going to mess it up. That, when he invented the Model T, most people didn't want a car. They just wanted a faster horse.
Yep.
Right. And so, hey, then you see, hey, Brian down the road got one of these Model T things. That thing is awesome. Screw horses. I mean, so yeah, liberty has to be sold in the same way.
Awesome. All right, Michael, we are unfortunately at the point of the show where we got to start wrapping things up. It goes fast, man.
It does go fast.
It really does. But with that being said, right, I mean, people listening to the show today, I think they can easily take away, You're not one of those, okay, we're going to sit down and read a book, Libertarians, because that doesn't sell. And I'm just sorry. That's just the reality. I'm not trying to pick on anybody.
Yeah.
If this is just this is what you guys got to hear in order for us to be successful. You can't just throw books at people or throw isms at people or throw philosophy or dead thinkers at people. It doesn't work. What you got to do is meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. And if you're running for office, pick a few of those issues. And I mean, really a few, like no more than 3, and make those like the key parts of your campaign. And those 3 key parts of your campaign should 100% reflect back the 3 key leading issues of your voting base. Because at the end of the day, guess what? It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about the big L libertarianism. It's about winning elections to make people's lives better. And we do that by meeting the voter where they're at on the issues they care about, not the issues we want them to care about, not the issues we think they should care about, not the issues we preach they should care about, the issues they actually care about, because that is when we show them we care. And when we show people we care, they start to trust us. When they trust us and they know us and they like us, they are more willing to buy from us. That's my final thoughts for today. Michael, what do you have for us on your end?
That sounds great. I think you summed it up perfectly. That again, meeting people where they are isn't about meeting them where you think they should be. It's about where they are. And the truth is that outside of Twitter or X, however you want to call it these days, I'm always going to call it Twitter, Facebook, social media, people still will have conversations with you. So don't be afraid to go and talk to people, shake their hands and say, hey, what's important to you? And then listen twice as much as you talk, and you'll probably do pretty well. So again, my name is Michael White. I am running for state representative in District 75 in West Little Rock, Arkansas. It is a 50-50 district. No Republican candidate. This is a winnable race for Libertarians. Dare I say, the most winnable race for Libertarians in 2024 on state legislature level or higher. I'm not just saying that because I'm running in it. I'm saying that because I have not discovered another race in the country that has this sort of opportunity. So please give me some support. Again, you're not probably in Arkansas. Most of you watching or listening to this are not in Arkansas. And you say, well, why would I care what happens in District 75? Because again, we're hoping that this catches on. We're hoping that people go, hey, Libertarians, not only can they win, when they win, things get better. Look what's happening in the legislature here. Look at these people over here in Arkansas. They're doing great. Let's do it here in Texas and Mississippi and Louisiana. And we keep on going, and it spreads across the country. You can find more about me at my website, mw4liberty.com. That's mw4liberty.com. All my things are there. The Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. You can read about the issues there. You can contact me for any questions you have. And of course, as always, you can donate to our campaign. We were fortunate enough to raise close to $12,000 in the first 24 hours of this campaign. We've had some significant support from people. We're very excited about that. We're very happy. But we need a lot of it because our Democrat opponent is going to raise probably around $100,000, which is a lot of money for a state legislature race. And so we need to have some ammo in the can, so to speak, to fight her. And with that, I think, Brian, I don't have much else to add other than, live free or die.
There you go. That's right. That's one of the slogans that we have been talking about a lot with our good friends up in New Hampshire.
There you go.
We're talking about
Free State Project.
That's right, the Free State Project. Yeah, so if you guys want to go ahead and check out one of those more recent episodes from the FSP, I'm actually going to include that link popping up right about here somewhere in this general area on the YouTubes. If you're sticking around watching the YouTube or Rumble version of the show, you hang out. That's going to bring you right over to that episode. But I can't echo that enough, Michael. This conversation today is exactly why we do the Brian Nichols Show, right? To take, again, I'm not trying to pick on any candidates, but I can think back to 4 years ago,
Sure.
3 years ago, some of the libertarian folks I've had here in the show. And again, I'm not picking on anybody in particular, but there are folks who have run for office and I've asked them, why are you running for office as a big L libertarian? Well, Brian, I started reading Hayek back 20 years ago. And I'm just like, guys,
yeah.
What are we doing? And thank you, Michael, because you're actually showing people not just how to do it, but I'm excited to have this conversation a year from now because you're going to show people how it's done.
Thank you.
Can't wait to have that conversation, my man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With that being said, social media links again. Where can folks go ahead find you? mw4liberty.com is the website. What's the social handles? Is it the same?
Same. MW4Liberty. Yeah, that's Mike Whiskey, the number 4 Liberty. MW4 Liberty. And you just Google that. You can find me. It's pretty easy. I'm out there. So.
Beauty. All right, folks, there's your call to action. And for today's episode, you can find me at B Nichols Liberty, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Please go ahead, share today's episode, tag yours truly. Also, we are sharing the entire video version of the show on X, I almost said on Twitter and on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as over on Rumble and YouTube. If you're watching the show, please hit that subscribe button, hit that little notification bell, and head down below into the comments. We want to hear your thoughts. Do you think that Big L Libertarians running for state office, local office, is it a good plan? Is it a useful use of our time, or is it a waste? Are we spending too much time running Big L Libertarians when we got to run Big L or Big R Republicans or Big D Democrats? We want to hear your thoughts. Continue
Big
that.
Big D Democrats. There you go. Yeah.
I love those Big D. I'm gonna pause that right there and not get in
you
trouble.
said it, not me.
I did get in trouble. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to get so many clips for that. All right. So other than that, please go ahead and support the show on your favorite podcast catcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music. I like Podcast Addict, wherever it is. Hit subscribe, download all unplayed episodes, because that's the only place you can find all 840 plus episodes here of the Brian Nichols Show. We've had to remove some shows over on YouTube because the thought police, they are out and they are strong. They've been nuking some of our episodes.
Say it again. I said the Ministry of Truth has swooped in.
It sure is, dude. They've been going through, sending us emails. You're putting up questionable, harmful content. Okay, it's from 3 years ago, and everything we put out in those episodes today is being shown to be accurate and 100% true. But I digress, folks. Please go check those episodes out in their entirety at the podcast version of the show or on our homepage, briannicholsshow.com. And one final plug, please support the folks who support us. That is our amazing sponsors like Cardio Miracle. We have our good friends at Indie Emporium and their brand new Michael Scott 2024 shirt. Plus, we have our good friends at Ebels CBD, Liquid Freedom Energy Tea, and more. So all those links over at briannicholsshow.com/sponsors. Michael, any final words for the audience as you wrap things up today?
No final words other than, again, visit my website, mw4liberty.com. Tell somebody that there is a libertarian who's not crazy, who's running in a winnable race, and show them that this is possible. That's all I got for you out there, guys.
Hear, hear. All right, folks, there is your mission. Now, if you choose to accept it, please let us know and give us some love by sharing today's episode. With that being said, Brian Nichols signing off here on The Brian Nichols Show for Michael White. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to The Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.